Hello everyone, welcome back. Naima here. Today we are in my kitchen because I am going to share with you my secret tea formula that I use throughout my menstrual cycle and to help balance my hormones and to also prevent menstrual cramping. So mostly I use this tea to help ease and prevent menstrual cramps. So I want to give you this recipe. I'm going to talk about the 4 herbs that I use in the recipe and then I'll show you how to make it. So the first herb that I use is ginger. Ginger has warming and stimulating and antispasmodic properties to it. So it's used commonly a lot to help heat up the body, warm the body. It's used during colds and flus when there's poor circulation. It's also really great for motion sickness and morning sickness and for menstrual irregularities. Ginger has this warming effect that's really important, especially right before and during our bleeding time when we need our uterus and womb space and our bodies overwell to have 1, good blood circulation, and 2, warmth. The second herb that I use is called Dung, and it is a Chinese herb. It's a bark and it actually can look like this, or you can buy it ground up like this. And this is nature's gift to women. It's an amazing tonic herb for the female reproductive system, and it's good to tone, feed, and nourish the female reproductive organs, and especially to help regulate an irregular or spotty menstrual cycle. There's not a lot of worry to overuse this herb at all. A lot of women actually will just break off a piece and chew it sometimes, or you can make it in tea or in tincture form, but there's not a lot of fear to overdose or overuse this herb. It can be used over an extended period of time. So, Dung Quai. All right, the third herb that I use is Peony Root. It is also a traditional Chinese herb. It can look like this, and it can also look like an actual root. And this is an amazing herb for PMS and menstrual cramps and polycystic ovarian syndrome. It has been used to help induce a menstrual cycle. Traditionally, also, it's been used to help induce an abortion. So if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, this is not your herb. Peony root is safe to use in a tea form. It's not to be used over extended periods of time, so it's to be used during a small portion of your menstrual cycle, and that's how I use it in mine. Also, peony root is an anticoagulant. It helps to dissolve blood clots. So if you tend to have blood clots, this is a great herb to use. And with that knowledge, if you have a bleeding disorder of any kind, it's good to be aware of that so you keep it in mind when you go to use this herb. And last, but certainly not least, one of my favorite herbs is Cramp Bark. And Cramp Bark is exactly like it sounds. It's a bark that's used for cramps, and it's usually ground up like this to make the medicinal qualities a little bit easier to extract. And Cramp Bark is by far one of the best uterine relaxants. It helps to relax the uterine muscles and as well as the ovaries. And so it's especially helpful for difficulty and painful menstruation, as well as in cases of a threatened abortion or miscarriage. Cramp bark can be used to help relax the uterus so there's no miscarriage. Additionally, cramp bark is really high in something called valerianic acid, which is one of the same constituents found in valerian root. So it has this really calming and sedative effect that is particularly addressing the female reproductive system. So also it has a high tannin count and quality in it that is really helpful in reducing excessive menstrual bleeding as well. So if you're someone who has really heavy periods, or even for women in menopause, this is really great herb to use for that. Okay, so these are the 4 herbs, and now I want to show you how I blend it all together and make the tea. All right, so I have all my supplies here. The first thing that I do is I put in all of the barks and the roots because they need to soak before you heat them up. So I typically just do about 2 teaspoons of the cramp bark here. You can I normally just grab and pinch and estimate, but if you want to measure, that's how you measure. With the peony root, I put a small little handful, maybe like 5 or 6 pieces of it, just like this in there. And then with the Dung Quai, if you have a piece like this, I typically will break it actually, and just 1 piece like this is what I use. And if you have the little pieces, again, I would use about 1 or 2 teaspoons of it. So I put all of the barks and the roots in first, and then I just add like a cup of cold water on top. And then I let this sit for about 20 minutes. and that allows some of that water to like rehydrate some of these plants. After this is sat for 20 minutes, or while that's sitting, you can chop up your ginger root, and I typically use it, you can't overdo it or underdo it here with the ginger. I use about maybe a thumb size piece of ginger, or you know, a finger size. It's really however spicy you want it to be, but some ginger in there is good. So I like to peel my ginger and then I chop it up really fine, and then I will add that to my pot of tea here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add about 3 or 4 more cups of water. So this can be, this is enough for about we're gonna do 6 cups of tea here total. 6 cups of water total. So I already put 1 cup in, I'm gonna add 5 more. Alrighty, so once you have all your herbs in the pot, go ahead and head over to your stove and put it on the fire, bring it to a boil, and then once it reaches a boil, turn it down and then allow it to simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then after that, you can strain your tea and enjoy it. You can drink these cups of tea throughout the day. This pot of tea with the recipe we made will make about 5 to 6 cups of tea. So you can space it out throughout the day. And traditionally, how I like to drink this tea is I like to make it during my premenstrual window. So right before I'm bleeding, I'll make this tea and drink it about 5 to 7 days before I actually start bleeding. So it helps prep my body, relax my uterus, so I can have a really easeful and crampless period. So I hope you're able to find the herbs for this, make the tea and enjoy it, and find menstrual relief, because I know we all need more of that in the world. If you like this video and you got something out of it, please do like it and subscribe to my channel so more people like you can find this video. And until next time, cheers!